Welcome back to another essential recap. Today we'll be taking a look at a story called The Island.
There are thousands of us, and everyone we've ever known is going to die in that place.
The movie begins with Lincoln's sixth echo dreaming about going to the island and getting drowned in the ocean. As Lincoln often sees this dream, he gets increasingly upset each time, but he cannot comprehend the situation. Waking up in a modern room with high technology installments, Lincoln witnesses a label on the roof which states that an abnormal sleep cycle has been detected in him. As Lincoln uses the bathroom, the technology shows a high sodium level in his urine, infuriating Lincoln because he finds himself fine. After changing clothes, Lincoln joins the elevator with the other facility members who also go through the same screening tests as Lincoln. As the elevator descends, the members see a hologram playing around the elevator's walls, announcing a lottery to a lovely, peaceful island surrounded by azure water. It is revealed that the people in the facility have survived the contamination that occurred in the world, and they now dream of going to the island, which is nature's last remaining pathogen-free zone. People will have to work and spend their lives in the facility until they win a lottery and get a chance to go to the island. As the female announces the next lottery winner, Gandu 3 Echo, a passenger in the elevator, gets upset and bangs his fist on a wall. It turns out that Gandu has been in the facility for 7 years and is desperate to leave. Gandu's lost temper is detected by the supervisors, who then warned him not to behave like this again. You can expect the strangeness of the facility from this. Even a man's slight change in behavior is monitored by the officials, and in my opinion, this is not something normal. After leaving the elevator, the group heads its way to the cafeteria to have some breakfast. As Lincoln's report is available at the counter, he only gets to eat what is healthy for him and not his favorite bacon, making Lincoln angry and uncomfortable. Meanwhile, another member named Jordan 2 Delta, a friend of Lincoln's, arrives at the breakfast spot and persuades the lady to let him have some bacon. After giving bacon to Lincoln, Jordan begins to talk to him but gets interrupted by a security member who wants the friends to eat their food separately. As Dr. Merrick has detected Lincoln's abnormal behavior, he calls him for examination. When Merrick inquires Lincoln about why he is regularly interacting with Jordan, Lincoln claims that there is no rule in the facility about not making friends. Merrick is concerned about Lincoln's change in metabolism and his nightmares. Asking Lincoln about his nightmares, Dr. Merrick learns that Lincoln often sees a dream about heading to the island in a boat. Moreover, he often hears the word renovatio in his nightmares. While talking to his doctor, Lincoln reveals how he is fed up with the restrictions on the food he eats and the clothes he wears. He wants something in his life more than just waiting to go to the island. Dr. Merrick calms him down and makes him believe that his life is not purposeful, but he has an aim to repopulate the earth again after its contamination. It seems like Merrick has suspected something abnormal in Lincoln, which he obviously doesn't want to see in any of his patients. To make things more clear, Merrick runs a synaptic brain scan on Lincoln by injecting microsensors in his body through the eyes. These sensors will move along Lincoln's optic nerve and upload readings to the system over the next 24 hours, after which Lincoln will pass these sensors through his urine. While doing a job of feeding the nutrient lines, Lincoln inquires his colleague Jones about the weirdness of their job. Lincoln is confused about the tubes and often wonders where they go. When Lincoln asks too many questions, Jones shares his thoughts on the lottery. He thinks that he will be the next winner. Gandu, standing beside him, tells Lincoln about the new member, 7 Foxtrot, who has also survived the contamination. Foxtrot seems naive and even behaves like a child while learning about his new job. Lincoln is confused about why the facility keeps getting new survivors even after so many years of contamination. As they talk, another facility member, Line 1 Alpha, falls to the ground and goes into labor. While the officials are busy giving her medical attention, Lincoln purposely shuts down his computer and makes an excuse to go to tech services, only to meet his friend. After taking a worker's tri-key and a contamination kit, Lincoln heads to the tech service department, where he meets James McCord, whom he often visits for chit-chat. When James offers him alcohol, Lincoln inquires where he gets these bottles. After informing Lincoln that he has an alcohol stash from before the contamination, James leaves to deliver his services in the product extraction department. As James departs, Lincoln finds a bug in the area and traps it in a cigarette box to take it back to the facility. On the other hand, James arrives at the product extraction department and finds 2 workers positioning a plastic capsule filled with fluid and containing a humanoid living form. While trying to use the computer, James becomes more disturbed by what the employees are doing. After being extracted from the pod, a fully developed male human named 3Hilo is ordered to be tagged and shipped to the Foundation by Dr. Merrick. To follow the instructions, workers apply a raised brand on 3Hilo's wrist before wrapping a bracelet around it. Later, when the camera shows thousands of the same fluid-filled pods having humanoid creatures inside, it is revealed that the tubes that the workers fill with vitamins are the foods for these newly born humans that help them get nutrition to grow. I can feel something bizarre happening in the facility that everyone else is unaware of. Lincoln approaches Jordan and informs her about the bug. Jordan gets excited and shows her interest in seeing the creature that they think has extinct years ago after the contamination. Although Jordan is happy about new survivors and bugs entering the facility, Lincoln finds it confusing. At night, Jordan is announced as the next lottery winner who will depart for the island tomorrow morning. The following morning, Lincoln wakes up with the same nightmare and immediately heads his way to the Tech Services Department. After releasing the bud from the cigarette box, Lincoln follows it until he reaches a restricted area where only officials are allowed to go. This area seems like a whole new world, the world that existed before contamination. As Lincoln tries to break into the area, we see Line 1 Delta being murdered by the doctor after she gives birth to a baby girl. It turns out that the doctors are giving the baby to a family looking for adoption. On the other hand, the surgeons are operating a facility member, Starkweather, who has won the lottery to go to the island before Jordan. Being a robust man, he gets up during the operation and rushes out of the theater for help, but he gets caught by security and is taken back to the room. Lincoln can see the guy screaming and crying. We can feel Lincoln's traumatizing situation after he realizes that the lottery winners are not taken to the island, but the operation theater for Merrick's own heinous purposes. In utter disbelief, Lincoln rushes back to the facility to save Jordan from the monsters. On the other hand, Dr. Merrick has discovered Lincoln in CCTV footage and has ordered his security to look for him. While Lincoln is running away from the guards, a community bulletin informs the residents that Lincoln has been contaminated. After an hour of running, Lincoln and Jordan successfully managed to escape the underground facility. At first, Jordan couldn't understand what was happening. On the other hand, Dr. Merrick is showing his clients his product, Agnate, which is an organic frame engineered directly into adulthood to match the client's age. It is revealed that the products, or the humanoids, Merrick synthesized are made for actual humans, so they can use them when needed. The Agnate can be used to carry a baby or to get a second pair of lungs or fresh skin. While talking to his clients, Dr. Merrick explains that the Agnates are maintained in a persistent vegetative state and can never feel pain, think, or suffer. After a meeting, Dr. Merrick hires a high-end security chief, Albert Laurent, who will now help Merrick find his products. However, according to Albert, if the Agnates are vegetative, then how do they run? It turns out that Merrick was lying about Agnates being vegetative. Therefore, he has hired Albert for the job, because if outside people learn about Merrick's heinous actions, he will get in big trouble. As Merrick is talking to Albert, we learn that Jordan and Lincoln are also Agnates who, like other humanoids, are not given the awareness about the sort of relationship between a couple. As Jordan's sponsor, Sarah Jordan, is in a coma after a car accident, she needs multiple organ transplants, for which Merrick needs Jordan to Delta within 48 hours. Seeing a bike, Lincoln gets excited, which raises a question. If the Agnates have memories of their families, how has Lincoln never seen a bike before? That's quite interesting. Anyhow, Lincoln and Jordan enter a club where they manage to find James. Lincoln is infuriated with James for keeping him away from the truth. After taking Lincoln and Jordan to his house, James unwillingly begins to answer their queries. Although he fears Dr. Merrick, he cannot say no to his friend. While talking to the Agnates, James reveals that they are clones who are copies of people in the world. Jordan gets upset and claims that she remembers her childhood memories. According to James, Merrick has imprinted a few memories in them and has given an impression to them that they are survivors of contamination. After giving them the concept of sponsors, James claims that Lincoln is 3 years old while Delta Jordan is 4. When the Agnates learn that their sponsors are unaware of Merrick's shady business, they devise a plan to expose Merrick. As Lincoln's sponsor is in Los Angeles and Jordan's sponsor is in New York, both heads to the train station to reach their destination. James helps them by giving them a credit card and money so they can survive in the real world. On the other hand, Albert has used a mechanism to trace Lincoln through his synaptic brain sensors, which Merrick injected into him before. Although Lincoln has excreted the sensor through urine, Albert and his team have learned about their last location and are now on their way to attack. The goons manage to kill James, but they cannot stop the agnates from boarding the train to Los Angeles. Meanwhile, Merrick gets the results from Lincoln's synaptic test and learns that Lincoln has developed a memory of 30 years within 3 years of his birth. These memories actually belong to his sponsor, who knows Latin, which is why Lincoln knew the Latin word renovatio, meaning rebirth. After being chased by Albert's men around LA, Lincoln and Jordan successfully reach Tom Lincoln's home, where Agnate Lincoln finds the same renovatio boat he often saw in his dreams. After listening to Lincoln's story about Dr. Merrick's illegal business, the original Tom Lincoln decides to help him. They devise a plan to appear together on TV so the world can understand that Lincoln is a clone. Who doesn't want to live forever? The same is the case with Tom Lincoln, who has informed Merrick's company about the Agnate's presence in the house. When Albert attacks them on their way to the press, Lincoln 6 Echo realizes that Tom has betrayed him. As Albert is about to shoot the clone, 6 Echo quickly attaches his bracelet to Tom's wrist, making Albert believe that the one with the bracelet is the clone. Tom Lincoln dies while Lincoln 6 Echo manages to return to the house where Jordan is waiting for him. The company's manager calls Lincoln and informs him that they will need him for a quick rescan so they can regrow his clone. Lincoln and Jordan devise a plan to destroy the holographic control room to save other Agnates. In this way, the Agnates at the Institute will all learn the reality about the outer world. As Lincoln heads his way to the facility for examination, Jordan gets caught by Albert and is taken to the operation theater. While Lincoln knocks the manager unconscious to escape, Jordan uses a gun to join Lincoln outside the theater. After seeing other Agnates getting ready for operations, Jordan decides to save them while Lincoln destroys the holographic control room. While Jordan successfully manages to free the Agnates from being incarnated, Merrick learns that Albert has killed the client, not the Agnate. Now, every guard in the facility is finding Lincoln, so they can stop him from ruining the company's reputation. There is a point to be noted. Why has Albert helped Jordan save the Agnates? As Albert chatted with Merrick about the clones, he realized that the brutal killings of Agnates have no justification, which is why it has to be stopped. As Lincoln heads to the holographic room, he encounters Merrick, who does his best to strangle Lincoln to death. However, during the fight, the reactor fan of the holographic machine gets overloaded, and Lincoln manages to kill Merrick by shooting a harpoon gun into his throat. Finally, the holographic grid is destroyed, allowing the Agnates to explore the outside world. The movie ends with all the Agnates getting out of the facility while we see Lincoln and Jordan after some time spending quality time in Renovatio boat in the middle of the ocean. Overall, The Island is a great movie, and the storyline is fictional yet interesting. Although Lincoln was all alone with his thoughts and had a ton of questions in his mind, with his determination and curiosity to explore more about his surroundings, he got a chance not to save his life, but the lives of hundreds of other Agnates. After his struggle and hard work, he ultimately got a perfect life and a life partner whom he loved the most. Thanks for watching another Essential Recap. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe.